Imagine navigating the vast Pacific Ocean, island hopping across thousands of miles from Hawaii to New Zealand, Easter Island to Indonesia. Can you picture the courage and determination it took for the first people of Oceania to sail from one distant shore to another, populating an entire ocean of islands? These seafaring explorers didn't just bring their belongings with them. They carried a shared cultural heritage that has woven a remarkable tapestry of myths and legends. And while each island tells its own unique stories, there are threads that tie them all together, common themes, recurring motifs, and unforgettable characters who leap from legend to legend. Among these figures stands Maui, one of the greatest tricksters in Oceania. But Maui isn't just a trickster. He's a hero, a cultural icon, and a rule-breaker whose daring exploits challenge the boundaries of what's forbidden. Unlike many tricksters in other traditions who take animal form, Maui is portrayed as a human figure, a bold individual who isn't afraid to bend or even shatter the taboos of his world. But why does he do this? What drives him to push against the rules? And what does it mean for a culture when its greatest hero is also its greatest mischief maker? Through Maui's tales, we see a figure who isn't just rebelling for the sake of it. He's testing limits, questioning the norms, and redefining what's possible in a world surrounded by endless ocean. Let's dive into one of the most legendary figures in Oceanian mythology, Maui, the trickster and cultural hero whose antics shape the world we live in today. Picture a figure who defies expectations at every turn, who rebels not just for the sake of chaos, but to challenge the very foundations of society. Maui is a force of nature, a disruptor, a charmer, a troublemaker who turns the established order on its head. But what is it that makes Maui so captivating? Why does he break the rules? And what can we learn from his rebellious spirit? Maui didn't care much for the strict taboos that shaped his world. He pushed boundaries, poked fun at sacred customs, and stood up for the weak against the powerful. As a trickster, he wasn't concerned with being a savior or helping humanity out of kindness. No, his deeds were driven by his own desires and sheer determination, often leading to results that profoundly impacted the world. Maui is credited with 7 great feats, acts that forever changed life for the people of Oceania. Each one of these accomplishments isn't just a story, it's a revelation, a transformation of reality itself. Yet, like so many tricksters across mythologies, his actions weren't planned out of benevolence. They emerged from his impulses and the instinct to test the limits of his own power. Maui was no golden child. He was the 5th son, born to a mother who felt she couldn't care for him. In one of his earliest myths, she wraps him in a lock of her hair and casts him into the sea, leaving him to the mercy of the waves. But Maui isn't one to surrender to fate. The sun itself, or Tama from the heavens, saves him, and he is raised among the gods, growing up stronger than any of them. Imagine a young Maui, aware of his strength, setting out to find his family, only to face rejection once again. The path to acceptance is riddled with trials, and it's only by overcoming them that Maui earns his place. His first act as a culture hero? A bit unusual, perhaps. He gives humanity the gift of sight, allowing them to see the birds they had only ever heard before. Until then, the people believed the birds' songs were the voices of the gods. With Maui's help, the world bursts into vivid colors as the sight of birds brings joy to humankind. Maui's boldness doesn't stop there. He pulls the islands from the ocean's depths with nothing but a fishing line. Imagine Maui and his brothers on a journey to the bottom of the sea. For hours, they fish with no luck, until Maui quietly drops his line into the water while his brothers sleep. When they awaken and begin to reel in the line, it doesn't just bring up a fish. It brings up an island, piece by piece. This island is none other than Hawaii, also known as Te Ika a Maui, or Maui's Fish, today known as New Zealand. Even the canoe they used on this epic fishing expedition is said to rest on the peak of Hikurangi, while the hook itself became Hawke's Bay. One of Maui's greatest feats is slowing down the sun's journey across the sky. But why did he do it? He did it for his mother, to give her more daylight so she could make tapa cloth from tree bark. Think about it. Before Maui intervened, the sun raced across the heavens, leaving too little time for daily tasks. Maui wasn't about to let that slide. He took the enchanted jawbone of his deceased grandmother and struck the sun, forcing it to crawl slowly across the sky, finally granting people enough time to grow crops, cook food, and craft clothes. So what do Maui's tales teach us? They're more than just stories of adventure. They're lessons in defiance, resilience, and transformation. Maui challenges us to think outside the box, to question what we accept as unchangeable, and to embrace the power of a rebellious spirit to reshape the world. Imagine the flicker of firelight dancing in the darkness, the warmth and glow of flames crackling in the night. But where did that fire come from? In Oceanian mythology, the answer is none other than the trickster hero, Maui. Just like Raven in North American legends or Prometheus in Greek myth, Maui steals fire for humanity, taking it from the depths of the underworld and gifting it to us. But this is no simple tale. It's a winding and complex adventure full of deception, danger, and daring. Maui's journey to bring fire to the people wasn't smooth sailing. He failed again and again, facing setbacks and challenges at every turn. But did that stop him? Of course not. He was up against Mahuika, the fearsome witch who guarded the fire, whose fiery power burned at the tips of her flaming fingernails. She didn't give up her flames easily, but Maui wasn't easily deterred either. Time after time, Maui tricked Mahuika into giving up one burning fingernail at a time until only one remained. Can you imagine the suspense? Just one ember left. In a final, desperate move, Mahuika hurled the last blazing fingernail to the ground, starting a massive fire. Maui had to act fast. He called upon the rain to douse the flames, but Mahuika wasn't finished yet. She threw the last sparks into the trees. And that's how humanity learned the secret of making fire from wood. Later, a few clever birds showed Maui how to ignite fire by rubbing sticks together, completing his gift to humankind. And then there's the tale of Maui and Tuna, the great eel. This story is as wild as the ocean waves, brimming with passion, betrayal, and a cosmic clash. It all begins with the eel's wife, who grew tired of Tuna's dullness and lack of excitement. She yearned for more and left him to find a bolder, fiercer man. Though she sought many suitors, none dared accept her, fearing the great eel's wrath. But when she came to Maui, he didn't hesitate. After all, when had Maui ever shied away from danger? Maui's mother, grateful for all he had done for the people, urged him to accept the woman's offer if she came to him. So they became partners, living happily together until the furious Tuna surged up from the depths, intent on reclaiming his wife. As he approached the surface, his rage stirred tidal waves and chaos, shaking the world. The showdown was inevitable. When Maui and Tuna finally met, it wasn't just a battle, it was a cosmic struggle. They fought with the force of the sea itself, each refusing to give an inch. In the end, they made an unusual pact, agreeing to let the other enter their body. Tuna, thinking he could still be close to his wife, crawled inside Maui. But Maui had no intention of letting his enemy live in peace. He expelled Tuna with force. Then, when it was his turn, he entered the eel's body and tore him apart from within, ending the great eel's life. But the story doesn't end with Tuna's death. Maui took the severed head of the eel and placed it in the corner of his house. From it grew the first coconut palm, sprouting tall and strong, its fruit a gift to the people. And so, the coconut came to be. Thanks to Maui's daring and defiance, a new source of nourishment was born for all. Not all of Maui's actions turned out for the good of humankind. Sometimes he was a subversive troublemaker, challenging norms and breaking rules. In fact, he is even responsible for humanity's loss of immortality, a mistake that would seal the fate of all people, including himself. Picture this. Maui, bold and daring, travels to the underworld on a mission to steal immortality from Nui Tepo, the goddess of the night. She wasn't just any goddess. She was the ruler of the underworld, the very embodiment of death itself. And on top of all that, she was Maui's grandmother. His plan, to sneak up on the sleeping goddess and steal her heart, securing everlasting life for all humans. But the stakes were high. One wrong move, and it could all go horribly wrong. As Maui approached, Nui Tepo lay asleep, her vast form stretching out before him. He stripped down, ordering his bird companions to remain silent as he began to slip inside her, intending to emerge from her mouth with his prize. But just when it seemed he might succeed, one of the birds burst into laughter at the sight of Maui halfway inside the goddess. Hain Nui Tepo awoke with a start, and in an instant she devoured him. In another version, it was Maui's father who misled him into believing that by entering through Hain Nui Tepo's vagina and emerging from her mouth, he would achieve immortality. Once again, a bird's laughter sealed his fate. The goddess awoke and crushed Maui to death. In the end, Maui's reckless defiance ensured that mortality remained a permanent condition for humankind. Maui was never one to play by the rules. He undermined social hierarchies, mocked the rigid customs and taboos of Oceanian societies, and trampled over sacred boundaries. His rule-breaking was legendary. He even committed incest, taking his own mother as a partner, and in Tahitian myth, he was involved with his sister. His son, too, followed this path of taboo relationships. Maui did not shy away from violence and chaos either. In one tale, he engaged in a brutal battle with his uncles, ultimately slaughtering them all. For all his daring and defiance, Maui also gave humanity the tools to survive. He invented spears, harpoons, fish traps, and nets, making it easier for people to hunt and fish. But even when he was helping humankind, he was always playing tricks, always disrupting the established order. The gods themselves were not safe from his antics. He delighted in fooling them and bending the rules of the universe. Maui is one of the most fascinating characters in mythology because he occupies a contradictory space. On the one hand, he is a great cultural hero, credited with shaping the world and giving humanity countless gifts. On the other hand, he is a rule breaker, a taboo shatterer who defies every norm his society held dear. This duality isn't accidental. Every culture defines itself by excluding certain behaviors and embracing others. What is forbidden shapes the very identity of a society, and Maui, forever straddling the line between what is allowed and what is forbidden, forces us to confront those boundaries. Why does Maui do what he does? It isn't out of malice, nor is it driven by love for humanity. He acts purely because he wants to, with a freedom and spontaneity that defies all rules and conventions. While ordinary people are bound by social and moral laws, Maui exists beyond those boundaries, challenging and reshaping the world on his own terms. His actions may shock, even offend, but his gifts to humankind are so valuable that people ultimately accept his transgressions. There's a reason why the stories of Maui and tricksters like him are often shared with children. It's because the trickster isn't truly a villain. He's a lovable rogue, a figure of raw, untamed creativity who embodies a spirit that refuses to be contained. He doesn't act out of cruelty, but from an irrepressible desire to disrupt, to break the mold. In Maui, we see the power of rebellion, a force that, though chaotic, sparks change and opens up new possibilities. When we hear tales of Maui's wild adventures, we're not just listening to myths. We're hearing stories that shape reality, transforming the world one trick at a time. With each act, Maui defied expectations and redefined what was possible, bending the rules to his will and forever altering life for the people of Oceania. So the next time you crack open a coconut or watch the embers of a fire glow, remember Maui, the trickster who made it all possible. Isn't it remarkable how a figure born of rebellion and mischief could offer so much to the world? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would life be like without a little trickery? In the next 2 lessons, we'll dive into the world of Northamerican Tricksters, where each region brings its own unique twist to these fascinating figures. On the prairies and in California, the trickster takes the form of a cunning coyote, while in the southeastern U.S., it's a quick-witted hare or rabbit. Further north in the central woodlands, you'll find the trickster embodied as a crafty spider, spinning webs of mischief and magic. These tricksters go by many names, such as Nanabushu or Gluskap among the Algonquin people, each weaving a tapestry of tales that reflect the cultures and landscapes they emerge from. Subscribe to the Academy of History and Culture and uncover the secrets behind these captivating characters as we explore the tricks, tales, and transformations that have enchanted storytellers for generations.